Ladies and gentlemen, the future you're dreaming of in 2025 is not waiting for you in some distant tomorrow. It's being built right now, in this very moment. By the mindset you choose today, every thought you think, every decision you make, every excuse you accept or reject is casting a vote for the kind of year you will live. If you keep waiting for the perfect time, you've already lost. But if you shift your mindset right here, right now, there is no limit to what the next 12 months can hold. Every new year brings with it a sense of possibility. We tell ourselves that this is the year things will change, that we'll finally step into the life we want. But too often, we look at success as something waiting for us in the future, as if it's hiding just beyond the horizon of January 1st. We say, I'll begin when the timing is right, when the calendar flips, when I feel ready. The problem is, waiting for the perfect moment means you're already behind. The truth is that success in 2025 doesn't start next month or next week. It begins right now in the way you think, in the mindset you choose today. The most powerful tool we have is not time, money, or even talent. It's perspective. It's how we choose to interpret the events around us, the story we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of. When you shift your mindset, everything else follows. Opportunities that once seemed invisible suddenly become clear. Challenges that once felt overwhelming turn into lessons. The external world doesn't need to change first. You do. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem to move through obstacles with grace, who achieve what others thought impossible. What separates them is not that they were luckier or more talented. It's that they decided, long before success showed up, that their thinking would not be controlled by fear, excuses, or limitations. They believed in possibility, and they acted on it daily. That belief shaped their behavior, and their behavior shaped their results. Now, it's tempting to believe that a new year will automatically flip a switch for us, that January will hand us a clean slate and a new burst of motivation. But motivation is unreliable. It fades the moment life gets uncomfortable. What lasts is mindset. When you commit to changing how you see the world, you build resilience that sustains you when motivation disappears. If you want success in 2025, stop waiting for the calendar to push you forward. Begin cultivating that resilience today. Let's get practical. If you see 2025 as the year you want to grow, earn more, improve your relationships, or finally step into a bigger version of yourself, then ask, what would a successful version of me do today? Not tomorrow, not next quarter, today. The answer doesn't have to be massive. Success rarely comes from grand gestures. It comes from small, consistent choices that compound over time. Reading 10 minutes of a book that challenges you, reaching out to one person who could become a mentor, reframing one negative thought into a constructive one. These tiny shifts build momentum, and momentum is what creates breakthroughs. There's a trap many of us fall into, and it's the belief that we need to have everything figured out before we begin. We think we need the full strategy, the perfect plan, or the guarantee of success. But growth never works that way. Growth is messy, uncertain, and uncomfortable. Success belongs to those willing to move forward without the guarantee. The shift in mindset comes when you embrace uncertainty, not as something to fear, but as the birthplace of possibility. Ask yourself, what's the story you've been telling yourself about 2025? Is it a story of hesitation, of waiting for luck, of hoping things will get better on their own? Or is it a story of ownership, of stepping into the driver's seat of your life, of saying, this is the year I take responsibility for my future? Because whichever story you choose will become your reality. Consider this: every great achievement starts with a decision. A decision to think differently, to act differently, to stop accepting old excuses as truth. If you want to transform your outcomes, you must first transform the way you interpret challenges. Instead of saying, I can't, ask, how can I? Instead of saying, I failed, say, I learned. Instead of saying, it's too late, declare, I'm just getting started. This is not blind optimism. It's intentional reframing. It's training your brain to see pathways instead of dead ends. Here's something we often overlook: people around you are influenced by your mindset too. If you're pessimistic, if you doubt yourself, others will reflect that energy back to you. But if you model courage, discipline, and belief, you give permission for others to rise as well. Changing your mindset isn't just about your success. It's about creating an environment where growth becomes contagious. Leaders aren't the ones who have all the answers. They're the ones who create conditions where others feel inspired to find their own. As you think about 2025, don't ask, what do I want to achieve? That's important, but incomplete. Ask instead, who do I need to become to achieve it? Because the goals you set are simply outcomes of the person you are becoming. You don't get results by clinging to the same identity and expecting different outcomes. If you want new results, you need a new mindset, a new story, a new way of showing up. So today is not just another day, it's the foundation of what's coming. Every thought, every choice, every action is a vote for the kind of year you want to create. Success in 2025 is not waiting for you on January 1st. It's already being shaped by the mindset you adopt right now. This moment is where it begins. If you're serious about changing your life in 2025, then the first commitment you need to make is to stop outsourcing your future. Too many people hand over control of their destiny to circumstance, to luck, or to someone else's permission. They wait for the right opportunity to knock instead of preparing themselves to be ready when it does. But opportunity doesn't come to the most deserving, it comes to the most prepared. The moment you take ownership of your mindset, you stop waiting and you start creating. One of the greatest misunderstandings about success is the idea that it's about doing more. More hustle, more hours, more goals, more effort. But more isn't always better. Sometimes success is about subtraction, about letting go of the beliefs and patterns that keep you stuck. Ask yourself what's one mindset you need to release to make space for growth. Maybe it's the idea that you're not good enough. Maybe it's the belief that you don't have the time. Maybe it's the story that success is for other people, not you. These stories are not truths, they are habits of thought. And just like any habit, they can be broken when you choose to replace them with something better. Here's the reality. You are already equipped with more potential than you realize. But potential is useless unless it's activated. And what activates it isn't just hard work, it's alignment. Alignment between what you believe and what you do. If you say you want to succeed in 2025, but your daily actions contradict that desire, then you're living in conflict. When your mindset aligns with your behavior, you no longer have to rely on willpower alone. You become consistent because you are acting in harmony with who you believe you are. Imagine for a moment the version of you that has already achieved what you want in 2025. Picture how that person thinks, how they carry themselves, how they respond to challenges. That version of you doesn't hesitate when faced with an opportunity. That version of you doesn't get stuck in fear of failure. That version of you doesn't waste time on distractions. Now ask yourself, what would it look like to start living as that person today, before the evidence shows up? Because it's not the results that make you that person. It's deciding to think and act like that person first, and the results follow. We often underestimate the role of patience in success. We live in a culture obsessed with instant gratification, where results are expected immediately. But sustainable success is never instant. It's the product of consistency over time. Your mindset must shift from wanting quick wins to embracing the long game. The moment you start measuring progress by consistency rather than immediate payoff, you free yourself from the disappointment that causes so many to quit. Patience isn't passive. It's a form of strength, a commitment to keep showing up even when results aren't visible yet. Of course, there will be setbacks. There will be days in 2025 when things don't go your way, when obstacles feel heavier than your energy. But here's the truth, the setbacks are not the opposite of success. They are part of it. Every failure, every rejection, every misstep is simply feedback. Feedback that teaches you what doesn't work so you can get closer to what does. When you shift your mindset to see setbacks as stepping stones rather than stop signs, you'll keep moving forward when others give up. It's also worth remembering that success is not just about achievement, it's about fulfillment. A mindset of pure ambition without gratitude leads to emptiness. If you chase results without appreciating the journey, you'll reach your goals only to feel dissatisfied and wonder why. The mindset shift here is to see success as both the destination and the process. Celebrate progress as much as outcomes. Recognize the growth you're experiencing in the pursuit, not just the reward at the end. Another critical piece of mindset is environment. Who you surround yourself with influences the way you think. If you spend your time with people who complain, who doubt, who play small, you will unconsciously adopt their patterns. But if you intentionally place yourself around people who are ambitious, optimistic, and resilient, their energy becomes fuel for your own growth. Your environment is not fixed. You can curate it. You can seek mentors, join communities, and build connections with those who challenge you to rise higher. Success is contagious, but so is mediocrity. Choose wisely. And let's talk about courage. Because changing your mindset is not about ignoring fear, it's about acting in spite of it. Fear doesn't disappear when you achieve more. It often grows because the stakes get higher. The difference is that with the right mindset, you don't allow fear to dictate your choices. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision that something else matters more. If success in 2025 matters more, then courage becomes your daily practice. There's also the question of identity. Too often, people try to achieve goals without addressing the identity underneath. If your identity is still tied to old limitations, you will sabotage yourself, even unconsciously. Real transformation comes when you decide to upgrade your identity, to tell yourself a new story about who you are. Say to yourself, I am disciplined, I am capable, I am resourceful, I am resilient. Your brain will resist at first because it wants to protect the old patterns. But repetition creates belief, and belief creates reality. Think of mindset as a lens. If your lens is scratched, cloudy, or distorted, everything you see will be affected. The world will look harsher than it is. Opportunities will seem smaller, challenges will feel bigger. But when you clean the lens, when you reframe your thinking, the same world looks completely different. The external hasn't changed, you have. And suddenly, doors open that you didn't even know were there. Now consider this: what will 2025 look like if nothing changes? If your mindset remains the same as it is today, where will you be in 12 months? That thought alone should stir something in you, because change doesn't happen by accident, it happens by decision. You can wait and hope the future improves on its own, or you can decide that today is the line in the sand, the moment you claim responsibility for what's ahead. And once you've made that decision, it's no longer about whether success will come, it's about when. Because with the right mindset, setbacks don't stop you, distractions don't derail you, and fear doesn't paralyze you. With the right mindset, every day becomes an opportunity to align your actions with your vision, to step closer to the future you want, and to create success in 2025 not as a dream, but as an inevitability. And once you understand that success is inevitable with the right mindset, the real work becomes discipline. Discipline is not about punishing yourself or grinding endlessly, it's about keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and you follow through, you strengthen your identity as someone who can be trusted, even by you. That builds confidence. Confidence doesn't come from waiting until you feel ready. It comes from stacking small wins that prove to you that you are capable. If you want 2025 to look different, start by keeping one small promise today. Think about how often people sabotage themselves, not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. They start with excitement, but when the excitement fades, so does their action. The mindset shift here is realizing that consistency is more powerful than intensity. Anyone can go hard for a week, very few can stay steady for a year. But steady is where the breakthroughs happen. Success isn't built in a moment of inspiration, it's built in the mundane repetition of aligned choices, day after day, even when no one is watching. And here's the paradox: when you shift your mindset to embrace consistency, you stop obsessing over the finish line. You begin to enjoy the process. And ironically, that's when results come faster. Because pressure and obsession create tension, but joy and flow create momentum. Imagine how different 2025 would feel if you approached your goals not from a place of desperation, but from curiosity, from excitement, from an eagerness to learn who you can become. Another critical element of mindset is adaptability. No matter how carefully you plan, 2025 will bring surprises. Some will be good, others will be challenging. The people who succeed are not the ones with the perfect plan. They are the ones who adapt quickly. They don't waste energy wishing circumstances were different. They focus on adjusting their approach. Adaptability is a superpower, and it starts with a simple belief: nothing is fixed. You are not fixed. Your skills, your habits, your opportunities, they can all evolve. The more you embrace flexibility, the more resilient you become. Too often, people give up because they hit resistance and assume it means they're on the wrong path. But resistance is not a sign to quit, it's a sign you're growing. Just like a muscle needs resistance to strengthen, your mindset needs challenges to expand. Without resistance, you remain the same. With resistance, you're forced to stretch, to innovate, to become more than you were. Reframe resistance as proof that you are moving forward. And let's talk about comparison, because nothing kills progress faster than measuring your success against someone else's. Comparison creates two toxic outcomes. It either inflates your ego when you feel ahead, or it deflates your spirit when you feel behind. Neither serves you. The only comparison that matters is who you were yesterday versus who you are today. Your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. When you adopt the mindset that your path is unique, you stop wasting energy on envy and start investing it into growth. Another mindset shift is moving from scarcity to abundance. Scarcity says there aren't enough opportunities, not enough money, not enough time, not enough room for everyone to succeed. Abundance says there's more than enough, And by helping others succeed, you expand the possibilities for yourself too. Scarcity makes you cling, hide, and compete. Abundance makes you share, create, and collaborate. The more you operate from abundance, the more doors open, because people are drawn to those who lift others up. Consider also the role of vision. Without vision, you drift. Without vision, you become reactive, responding to circumstances rather than shaping them. A clear vision doesn't just give you direction, it fuels your mindset. It gives meaning to your discipline and consistency. Vision isn't just about setting goals, it's about defining why those goals matter. Ask yourself, what do I want 2025 to mean for me? What impact do I want to create? What story do I want to tell a year from now? When your vision is clear, your decisions become easier, because you're no longer choosing between good and bad. You're choosing between aligned and unaligned. It's important to remember that mindset is not a one-time shift, it's a daily practice. You don't go to the gym once and expect to be fit forever. You don't choose courage once and expect fear to disappear forever. The same is true with mindset. Every day you will face moments that test your thinking, moments that try to pull you back into old patterns. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is the commitment to choose growth repeatedly, even when it's uncomfortable. And discomfort is essential. Discomfort means you're expanding beyond what's familiar. Too many people mistake discomfort for danger, so they retreat. But discomfort is actually the sign that you're on the edge of transformation. Growth never happens in the comfort zone. It happens in the stretch zone, where your current capabilities are not quite enough, forcing you to develop new ones. The sooner you reframe discomfort as a friend instead of an enemy, the faster you'll progress. Also, never underestimate the role of gratitude in shaping your mindset. Gratitude is not just about being thankful. It's a filter that changes how you experience life. When you practice gratitude, you train your mind to focus on what's working rather than what's lacking. That shift alone transforms challenges into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and goals into privileges rather than burdens. Gratitude doesn't make you complacent, it makes you resourceful. It reminds you that you already have more than enough to begin right now. Think about this in every moment. You are casting a vote for the future you want. Every decision is either moving you closer to or further from your vision for 2025. This is empowering because it means you don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to make one more aligned decision today. One more choice to act with discipline. One more choice to practice gratitude. One more choice to push through discomfort. These small choices compound, and they shape not only your year, but your identity. And when you look back at the end of 2025, what will matter most is not just what you achieved, but who you became along the way. Because success is never really about the external rewards. Those rewards are temporary. True success is becoming the kind of person who can create, sustain, and multiply success again and again in any circumstance. That person is built not in the future, but right now, in the choices you make today. And when you understand that who you are becoming is more important than what you achieve, your relationship with success shifts completely. It's no longer about chasing validation or proving yourself to others. It becomes about alignment with your deepest values. That is the true freedom of mindset. When your actions are consistent with who you know yourself to be, you no longer need external applause. You become anchored, steady, and focused, regardless of circumstances. Most people never reach their potential because they are paralyzed by the opinions of others. They spend energy trying to avoid judgment or win approval, forgetting that no one else is living their life. The mindset shift here is realizing that you don't need permission to pursue your vision. You don't need everyone to understand you, and you don't need everyone to agree with you. Success is not a group vote, it's a personal decision. The only person you need to convince is yourself. That's why belief is the foundation of everything. Belief is not wishful thinking, it's the conviction that your actions matter, that your future is within your control, that setbacks are temporary. Belief is what fuels persistence. Without belief, the first obstacle feels like a dead end. With belief, the same obstacle becomes a detour. And the truth is, belief is a choice. You don't need evidence to believe in yourself. You need courage to believe before the evidence shows up. When you choose belief, you begin to carry yourself differently. You walk with more confidence, you speak with more conviction, you act with more consistency. And people respond to that. Opportunities open up, not because the world suddenly changed, but because your energy shifted. Success often begins invisibly, in the way you think, long before it shows up tangibly. Another mindset worth adopting is ownership. Ownership means no excuses, no blame, no waiting for someone else to fix it. It doesn't mean everything is your fault, but it does mean everything is your responsibility. That subtle distinction is powerful. When you take ownership, you stop wasting energy on what you can't control and start investing it into what you can. Ownership puts you in the driver's seat, and that's where transformation begins. There's a simple but profound truth: your life is a reflection of the standards you set. If you accept mediocrity in your mindset, you'll experience mediocrity in your outcomes. If you demand growth from yourself, you'll experience growth in your results. Raising your standards isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's declaring, "This is who I am, and I will not accept less from myself." When you elevate your standards, your actions naturally rise to meet them. And sometimes, elevating your standards requires boundaries. Boundaries with distractions. Boundaries with habits that drain your energy. Boundaries with people who don't support your growth. Protecting your mindset means being intentional about what you allow into your life. Success is not just about what you pursue, it's also about what you refuse. Refusing negativity, refusing excuses, refusing to settle for less than your vision demands. One of the most underrated aspects of mindset is imagination. Your brain doesn't distinguish much between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. That's why visualization is so powerful. When you see yourself succeeding, when you imagine the details, the feelings, the environment, your mind begins to normalize that reality. You begin to act in ways consistent with that vision, because to your brain, it already feels possible. Imagination is rehearsal for greatness. But imagination alone is not enough. It must be paired with execution. Too many people get stuck in dreaming without doing. The mindset shift here is understanding that imperfect action beats perfect intention every time. You don't need the whole staircase to take the first step. You just need the courage to begin. Execution creates momentum, and momentum creates clarity. You don't think your way into clarity. You act your way into it. As you step into 2025, remind yourself that energy is everything. The way you show up, the enthusiasm you bring, the focus you maintain, all of it starts with how you manage your energy. A positive mindset fuels your energy, while a negative mindset drains it. Protect your energy like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. With energy, you can push through challenges, inspire others, and sustain your efforts. Without it, even the best opportunities slip away. And don't forget the role of celebration. Too often, people push relentlessly without ever pausing to acknowledge progress. Celebration is not a distraction, it's fuel. It reminds your brain that effort matters, that progress is being made, that the journey is worthwhile. Celebration reinforces the mindset that success is not only possible but already happening. Every small victory is proof that your future is unfolding in real time. The journey to success in 2025 will not be linear. It will be filled with twists, turns, highs, and lows. But when your mindset is strong, none of that derails you. You stop seeing life as something happening to you and start seeing it as something happening for you. Every event, whether joyful or painful, becomes raw material for growth. That perspective turns 2025 into more than just another year. It becomes a year of transformation, no matter what comes your way. And perhaps the most important mindset of all is this: you are capable of more than you think. The limits you believe in are not walls, they are illusions. Every time you push beyond what you thought you could handle, you discover new capacity, and that's how growth compounds. You go a little further than before, and suddenly the impossible becomes possible. What once intimidated you becomes natural, and then you set your sights higher. This is the cycle of progress. So as you look ahead, remember, your mindset is the starting point of everything. Success in 2025 doesn't begin when opportunities appear. It begins when you decide to think differently, to believe in yourself, to act with courage, and to align your daily choices with the vision you hold. Every moment is a chance to step into that mindset, and every time you do, you move closer to the future you're creating.